Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from PJ Media dated June 9th, and this article is going to be a definition of irony that is going to be studied forever. This is amazing, and I'm not sure you heard about this because it didn't get a lot of airtime out there, but it says the 75th anniversary edition of 1984 goes full Ministry of Truth. In other words, the 75th anniversary edition of 1984 went full 1984. And what do I mean by that? There's George Orwell himself. Let's get into it. It says, for 3 generations, George Orwell's 1984 has been the gold standard of dystopian literature. Orwell depicted a society in which the ruling party heavily censors everything, including thought. Our modern culture has adopted the term Orwellian to describe any overreach of freedom of expression. I just read 1984 for the first time, I think it was maybe 5 years ago, because I was like, I have a feeling they're going to do something with this book that's going to just destroy it or bastardize it, so I might as well get it now and read it in its original form, and it's an excellent book. But I was like, yeah, I think I should probably read it. And I'd read Animal Farm, just to name another Orwell book, back in high school is one of our reading things. And it was actually one of those books in high school that I enjoyed reading. Anyway, back to the article. It says, the 75th anniversary edition demonstrates how the left doesn't understand what 1984 is really about. In addition to an afterword from an author who wrote a retelling of 1984 from a feminine perspective, says try not to roll your eyes too hard, seriously, says this edition contains a foreword from author Dolan Perkins Valdez, who won the 2023 NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literary Work Fiction. Note for clarification. The original publication date of 1984 was June 8th, 1949, but I can't tell if this new edition came out last year or this year. Probably doesn't matter, but all things being said, there you go. All of the listings I see for it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble use the publication dates of earlier editions. Whether it came out last year or this year, it's generating some recent controversy. Says inner forward, Perkins Valdez demonstrates one of the left's biggest problems, its tendency to read older literature through a persistent lens, or I should say a modern-day lens. She laments the absence of black characters. According to Newsweek, she writes that a sliver of connection can be difficult for someone like me to find in a novel that does not speak much to race and ethnicity. Why does it need to? This is a British dude writing from the perspective of a British dude in 1949 when the black population of Britain was probably less than 1%, I'm guessing. So there probably weren't a lot of black people around. And again, why do you need there to be a black person in the story to feel anything for it? That's narcissism. You're basically saying, I couldn't judge a book by its cover, so I couldn't get into it. I couldn't relate to anything in it. Okay? It's so stupid. It says Perkins Valdez also accused the novel's protagonist, Winston Smith, of misogyny. She even slaps him with the leftist scarlet letter P for problematic. It's because leftists are stupid. So I'm enjoying the novel on its own terms, but not as a classic, but as a good story. That is, until Winston reveals himself to be a problematic character, Perkins Valdez writes. I'm trying to remember what he did. It says, for example, we learn of him, he disliked nearly all women, and especially the young and pretty ones. Whoa, wait a minute, Orwell. It says the things that Perkins Valdez finds problematic weren't issues in 1949. They weren't even major issues in the year 1984, much less the novel 1984. And I'm going to scroll back up because I do remember him saying that now that she said that in the story, but it's like, there was a reason for it, though, which, of course, she's, leaving out the context because, again, leftist, stupid. Yet she reads the book through the prism of presentism. We can't retcon the art and entertainment of the past no matter how much the left wants to try. This last week, novelist Walter Kern called out Perkins Valdez and the Orwell estate, which approved the essay, on his podcast, American This Week. Says, thank you for your trigger warning for 1984, he said. It is the most 1984-ish thing I've ever effing read. Yeah, and what he wrote here, it says, in which you will learn that the current leading paperback version of 1984, its official Orwell estate-approved 75th anniversary edition, includes a 1984-ish trigger warning introduction calling the novel's hero problematic because of his misogyny. I am not making this up. Yeah. This Kern also compared the foreword to the novel's Ministry of Truth, remarking, they're giving you a little guidebook to say, here's how you're supposed to feel when you read this. Yeah, and they should never be doing that. You should just feel whatever you feel when you're reading something. So for our self-appointed cultural betters on the left, there's only one way to think. And we had better believe that they are going to tell us what to think and how to feel about what we read, which is in part of what Orwell was warning against in 1984. Exactly. And this last paragraph here is just a PJ Media thing, and that's it. So that's basically the end. But like I said, I didn't know if you guys had heard this, that basically the new version of 1984, the 75th anniversary version of 1984 is, well, goes very 1984. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.